Alright, so imagine you're a detective. Someone calls in a missing person, a woman. Her fiancé says she went to dinner with a friend and never came home. Happens sometimes, right? People take off for a night, no big deal. Except this one's going to turn into the most controversial acquittal in modern Chinese history. And by the end, you'll be asking the same question that split an entire nation in two. Welcome to Paws and Clues with Ajax. I'm Ajax. Every case leaves a trace, and today, we're following one of them. March 10th, 2012, Kunming, China. A man named Chen Hui calls his fiancée's family back in Sichuan province. He's crying, barely able to get the words out. Zhu Ying is missing. His fiancée, Hu Zuying, 32, divorced, raising a 3-year-old boy on her own, didn't come home last night. According to Chen, she texted him around 3:21 yesterday afternoon, saying she ran into an old friend and was having dinner, asked him to pick up her son, said she'd be late. That was it. Last contact. By 10 that night, she still wasn't back. Her phone was unreachable. Chen drove around the city, came home at 3 a.m. and started calling her friends. Nobody knew anything. Nobody knew who this old friend was supposed to be. Now at this point, to police, it's a standard missing person report. She's an adult. She's been gone one night. Maybe she'll turn up. But her family? The moment they get that phone call, something feels wrong to them. Not about Hu being gone, about Chen. A grown woman has been missing one night, so why does this man already sound like he's grieving? They file that feeling away, and they head to Kunming. A quick word on Chen Hui, born 1965, smart kid, got into university in Chongqing when that was still genuinely rare. Studied water engineering, climbed the government ranks, ended up as assistant director of Yunnan's maritime administration. Quiet, respectable, always had this thin little smile on his face. The kind of guy who blends into any room without trying. He'd been divorced for years, raised his daughter alone. Then in 2009, at 44, he met Hu Zuying online. She was also divorced, also raising a kid solo. They moved fast. By November, they were living together. His 15-year-old daughter, her toddler, one roof. For over 2 years, it worked. Early 2012, they decided to marry. Took wedding photos, gathered documents. Everything pointed toward a happy ending. And then she vanished. While police do their standard search, Hu's older brother starts retracing places tied to Chen's life. He's not waiting for the system to work. Something's driving him. And that feeling leads the family out to a place called Red Manor, nearly 100 kilometers from Kunming. Chen owns a villa out there. Now, Red Manor sounds like a country estate. It's anything but. Built in the 90s, maybe decent once. By 2012, it's half abandoned. Rural cottages, dirt roads, weeds taking over everything. Empty houses with hills and forest pressing in on all sides. And Chen's property sits in the most remote corner of the whole complex. The kind of place where you could scream and no one would hear. The family circles the villa. Nothing. No signs of Hu, no sign of anything at all. Discouraged, they start walking back toward the entrance. Then, something catches the brother's eye. About 300 meters from the villa, next to a small ditch, a mound of dirt. The soil is a different color from the ground around it, freshly disturbed. He stops, stares at it, and later tells police that in that moment, he just knew. He was certain, absolutely certain, his sister was underneath that dirt. He turns to his family. Get me something to dig with. Nobody understands why. There's nothing logically connecting that mound to Hu, but he insists. They borrow tools. He starts digging. Before long, his shovel hits something. A black plastic bag. He stops, realizes he could destroy evidence, calls police. Officers excavate carefully. What they uncover? A woman's body. Head wrapped in black plastic, face covered with a stained towel, body curled tight, hands, feet and neck all bound with tape, pink pajamas stained at the front, barefoot. Even with her face covered, the family knows immediately. Hu Zuying, missing 4 days, buried in a shallow grave 300 meters from her fiancé's property. Found not by police, not by dogs, by her own brother, following something he couldn't name. Homicide investigation opens. And now investigators start pulling threads, methodically, piece by piece. Here's what they find. Forensic exam, March 13th. Hu suffered multiple fractures to her head and chest. Repeated blows from a blunt object. Ruled a homicide. Time of death estimate. Roughly 5 days before the exam, at least 6 hours after her final meal. Work that backward. 5 days from March 13th lands on March 8th. If her last meal was dinner around 6 or 7 p.m., 6 hours later puts time of death near midnight on the 8th. But those texts from Hu's phone came at 3:21 p.m. on March 9th, the next afternoon. If she was already gone by midnight, who sent those messages 15 hours later? Investigators pull phone records, and here's where it gets really interesting. At exactly 3:21 p.m. on March 9th, the exact moment that "dinner with a friend" text was sent, Hu's phone and Chen's phone both connected to the same cell tower, the one that serves Chen's government office building. They check building security cameras. Hu never entered, never appeared anywhere nearby. So either she was invisibly standing outside his workplace when she texted him, or someone else had her phone at that building. They look at the text content itself. "Please pick up my son, I'll be home late." Her family reads it and immediately says, that's not how she talked. Too formal. Not her voice at all. Then they hunt for this old friend. Every contact in her phone, every person from her hometown, every acquaintance in Kunming. Nothing. Nobody arranged to meet her. Nobody matches. The friend doesn't exist. Hu had been unemployed, spending most of her time at home. Her social circle had shrunk considerably. A spontaneous dinner with a mystery friend doesn't fit her life at all. Now detectives zoom in on Chen's movements. March 9th. Guards at their apartment complex remember something. Chen came home around noon. Normal enough. But this time, he drove his car directly into the complex and backed the trunk right up against the stairway. They watched him carry things upstairs, then bring different things back down and load them into the trunk. They couldn't see what. Investigators check his work records. He signed out at 12:26, returned at 1:06, about 40 minutes total. That night, highway cameras captured Chen leaving Kunming at 10:20 p.m. He exits at Jinsuo toll station at 11:31, just over 10 kilometers from Red Manor. Doesn't get back on the highway until 2:08 a.m. 2.5 hours. At an isolated, half-abandoned property in the dead of night. The same property that sits 300 meters from where Hu's body was just found. Chen's own account? He says he was out searching for Hu, driving everywhere he could think of, including his villa. But investigators are skeptical. Why drive 100 kilometers in the middle of the night to search an empty property? And then, the forensic lab calls with what investigators consider the case breaker. On the tape used to bind Hu's body, they recover 6 fingerprints. Every single one belongs to Chen Hui. And 2 of them, were pressed into a dark stain on that tape. The lab confirms, the stain is the victim's own biological trace. His prints, her trace, on the bindings around her body. To the investigators, the picture assembles itself. Hu was attacked at home the night of March 8th. She was in pajamas, barefoot, clearly not dressed to go out. Someone ended her life with repeated blows. The next day, Chen went to work, came home at lunch to move the body, sent fake texts from her phone that afternoon to establish an alibi timeline, and late that night drove out to Red Manor and buried her. But wait, you're asking why? Why would a man days from his wedding do this? Investigators dig into the relationship, and it's not the happy picture it appears from the outside. Chen's teenage daughter clashed constantly with Hu. The household had become tense and hostile. But detectives suspect personal friction alone isn't enough to explain this. So they look deeper, and they find something. Chen had secretly joined a matchmaking website, while still planning his wedding to Hu, and started seeing another woman, surnamed Xie. After Hu vanished, he moved in with Xie almost immediately. Xie later told police she had absolutely no idea another woman existed in Chen's life. Then one of Hu's friends tells investigators something else. Hu had talked about leaving Chen. She'd claimed she discovered financial misconduct tied to his government position. She'd even mentioned demanding 500,000 yuan, about $79,000 US, as compensation if they split. Now, none of that was ever confirmed independently, but the implication is heavy. If Hu really did hold that kind of information, Chen had reasons both personal and professional to fear her leaving. A deteriorating relationship, a secret affair, a fiancé who might destroy his career. That's your motive. March 20th, 2012. Police arrest Chen Hui. April 26th, formally charged. Across 14 separate interrogations, he never confesses. Not once. Admits the affair. Admits driving to Red Manor that night. Denies everything else. 3.5 years pass. November 2015. The trial begins. Prosecution walks in confident. Fingerprints, cell data, highway cameras, motive, opportunity. And then the defense does something nobody expected. They take the whole case apart. Time of death? Report says approximately 5 days. Could be 4. Could be 6. Without precision, you can't prove she died before those texts were sent. The pajamas? Unusual to wear out, sure, but not impossible. You can't convict based on a wardrobe choice. Cell tower? Coverage wasn't exclusive to Chen's office. Their apartment was only 1.5 kilometers away. Same tower range. Same tower doesn't prove same location. His noon movements? He was gone 40 minutes total. After drive time, maybe 10 to 15 minutes inside the apartment. Not enough time to move a body, wrap it, clean up, and load a car. Red Manor that night? He says he went looking for Hu. You can't prove he didn't. And the fingerprints, the prosecution's strongest card. Chen says the tape came from his own villa. He'd handled it many times before for ordinary household reasons. The prints prove he touched tape. They don't prove when. They don't prove he wrapped a body. Then the defense goes for the jugular. If Chen attacked Hu in their apartment, where is the evidence of that attack? Her injuries, multiple fractures, repeated blows. That's a violent struggle. She would have screamed, resisted. 2 children were sleeping in that apartment. Neither heard anything. No neighbor heard anything. No defensive wounds on Chen. Nothing under Hu's fingernails. And the biggest problem, no biological traces. None in the apartment. None in his car. None at the villa. Nowhere. If he attacked her, wrapped her in tape, loaded her into his trunk, drove 100 kilometers, buried her, and drove home, how did he leave absolutely nothing behind? Not one drop. Not one fiber. No confirmed crime scene. No weapon ever found. No witness. No confession. The defense's argument. Investigators fixated on Chen from day one. Read everything through the assumption of his guilt. Suspicion is not proof. The courtroom goes silent. The verdict comes. Not guilty. The court rules the evidence insufficient. 3 fatal weaknesses. No confirmed crime scene, no precise time of death, no weapon recovered. Every piece of circumstantial evidence allows for an alternative explanation. Chen smiles. That same thin, quiet smile. Tells reporters, "If my resolve had weakened even a little, I probably would never have walked out of there today." Prosecutors appeal. Eventually withdraw. The acquittal stands. The media gives it the name that sticks. China's O.J. Simpson case. The prime suspect walking free. Legally innocent. Permanently controversial. And here's what won't stop nagging at me. If not Chen, then who? Because Hu Zuying's life was taken. That fact doesn't change. And after years of investigation, no one else was ever charged. No other suspect identified. No new evidence found. After learning of his daughter's death, Hu's father sank into grief. His health collapsed. He passed away not long after. Her brother said simply, "Because of this case, our family lost 2 people." And Hu's little boy? His biological father had vanished from his life long before. After his mother was gone, he went back to his grandmother in Sichuan. He was only 8 years old when the final verdict came down. When reporters asked him about Chen Hui, he answered without hesitating. He called him Dad. The man the whole country suspected of taking his mother's life was also the man who'd driven him to school every morning and tucked him in every night. More than a decade has passed. The case remains officially unsolved. No one else charged. No one confessed. Did the justice system succeed in preventing a wrongful conviction? Or did someone slip quietly back into ordinary life? To this day, no one knows. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching Paws and Clues with Ajax. I hope you found today's case as haunting as I did, and I'll see you again in the next story.